few but pure. Pauca est matura, few but ripe. The queen of science is mathematics. Mathematics is the queen of the sciences. It is demanded for proof that every doubt becomes impossible. Thou nature art my goddess, to thy laws my services are bound. Life stands before me like an eternal spring with new and brilliant clothes. I have had my results for a long time, but I do not yet know how I am to arrive at them. I believe you are more believing in the Bible than I am not. You are happier than I. There have been only 3 epoch-making mathematicians, Archimedes, Newton, and Eisenstein. You say that faith is a gift. This is perhaps the most correct thing that can be said about it. When a philosopher says something that is true, then it is trivial. When he says something that is not trivial, then it is false. It is not knowledge, but the act of learning, not the possession of, but the act of getting there, which grants the greatest enjoyment. I protest against the use of infinite magnitude as something completed, which is never permissible in mathematics. Infinity is merely a way of speaking. Allein die Schule des Lebens muss lehren, nur des erreichbar zu wollen, und des Gut nicht deswegen zu verschmähen, weil noch etwas Besseres denkbar ist. We must admit with humility that, while number is purely a product of our mind, space has a reality outside of our mind, so that we cannot prescribe its laws a priori. Sophie Germain proved to the world that even a woman can accomplish something in the most rigorous and abstract of sciences, and for that reason would well have deserved an honorary degree. The history of the apple is too absurd. Whether the apple fell or not, how can anyone believe that such a discovery could in that way be accelerated or retarded? Undoubtedly, the occurrence was something of this sort. There comes to Newton a stupid, importunate man, who asks him how he hit upon his great discovery. When Newton had convinced himself what a noodle he had to do with, and wanted to get rid of the man, he told him that an apple fell on his nose, and this made the matter quite clear to the man, and he went away satisfied. As is well known, the principle of virtual velocities transforms all statics into a mathematical assignment, and by D'Alembert's principle for dynamics, the latter is again reduced to statics. Although it is very much in order that in gradual training of science, and in the instruction of the individual, the easier precedes the more difficult, the simple precedes the more complicated, the special precedes the general, yet the min, once it has arrived at the higher standpoint, demands the reverse process whereby all statics appears only as a very special case of mechanics. I confess that Fermat's theorem as an isolated proposition has very little interest for me, for a multitude of such theorems can easily be set up, which one could neither prove nor disprove. But I have been stimulated by it to bring our again several old ideas for a great extension of the theory of numbers. Of course, this theory belongs to the things where one cannot predict to what extent one will succeed in reaching obscurely hovering distant goals. A happy star must also rule, and my situation and so manifold distracting affairs, of course, do not permit me to pursue such meditations as in the happy years 1796-1798, when I created the principal topics of my disquisitions arithmeticae. But I am convinced that if good fortune should do more than I expect, and make me successful in some advances in that theory, even the Fermat theorem will appear in it only as one of the least interesting corollaries.